Step 1, wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
Breaking news information in the Sebastian Wayne Rogers case that I reported on several days ago about this unscrupulous PI hired by the mom and stepfather of Sebastian Wayne Rogers to run interference. We broke that he was holding critical information in the Sebastian Wayne Rogers case by withholding the information related to the 3 a.m. car seen on the outside of their house where flashlights appear to be approaching that vehicle. Now all of a sudden it's back to being a trash truck, which couldn't be further from the truth. Moreover, he's saying the field of sight is much different than what it truly was that evening. Moreover, we have photos depicting what that camera footage would have looked like and the angle of that camera from my trip in June. Now, this distraction is after the revelations of 5 Department of Children and Family Services reports on either the mom or the stepfather in the home of Sebastian Wayne Rogers. Now, Here we go again. Another distraction, all from the Proudfoot camp. This is a distraction from the step-grandmother of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, is now throwing more distractions out there and going back to Seth is this pedo. But when we were talking to Yada, the cousin and family member of Katie Proudfoot, we learned she had a boyfriend and she was only in the state of Virginia around Seth for a limited amount of time when she was younger. They didn't meet until much, much later in life. Around 18 and a half years old was when they crossed paths again. They obviously fell in love, got married, and had a child. So the distraction campaign is running rampant, and the question we have to ask is why? And my opinion is they are absolutely terrified of the information law enforcement must have against them. I have no idea what is going on, but every time we start seeing these types of actions from persons of interest in a disappearance or death, we know we're sniffing up the right alley. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel for critical updated information related to the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers and other crime cases. God bless. Hey guys, Bullhorn Betty. I have breaking news related to the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is 16 years old. However, he disappeared when he was 15 years old on February 25th, 2024 from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. There has been a lot of controversy in this case. However, most controversial is the lights video. What were we seeing and where were we looking? New information has come out related to the lights video and the potential viewpoints of what we could not see come to life and light. This is a very interesting piece of evidence in my opinion, because the unscrupulous PI has been working around the clock to discredit anybody with factual information of this case and about this case. He has went as far as to prepare a report that identifies the field of view of a particular camera that picked up the lights video, trying to manipulate people in believing it happened in an area it had not. This is the latest information, and I have to say it's pretty important for everyone to check it out. Here you go.
Wall away, and now I'm going to reveal my image with the wall taken away. And now you can see the building that it's looking at, and it's a pretty good match. Now, can you figure out which building that is? It's not white, so that's a bit of a clue, isn't it? It's not one of the white buildings. It's a red building, it's got bricks. But what is this light here? We can see it. I can change it completely today in a minute, so you'll see the whole building. And these lights positioned around the sides, what could they be? So are you ready to see me turn night into day? Watch this. And this is where you're looking. And this is where you've been looking all along. These white garage doors in a line over here. And that door shining out. Probably a light on in there, something like that.
I feel this is a step in the right direction in uncovering the truth about what we saw in the early morning hours before Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers was reported missing by his mother. Please let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channels across multiple social media platforms today. God bless each and every one of you. What we do know as fact, however, is that Seth has been searching for his son ever since his son disappeared. Seth has publicly taken a polygraph. He has publicly produced his work records. This man has done everything he could possibly do, including working with the FBI, working with me to advocate for his son, calling on the national media, getting Nick the Hat and Dog the Bounty Hunter, and we're here with what from the mom and stepfather? Nothing for almost 10 months. Shoddy searches at best, working with an unscrupulous PI, felons, and including one searcher utilizing substances, illicit substances, while searching for their son. Well, good morning, my beautiful people of YouTube. Oh boy, Betty's pushing buttons. Betty's pushing buttons. I don't know what's dragging my stuff down. I did want to let you know today we are fundraising for court expenses, legal expenses. So if you guys would like to donate, there's not a whole lot going on today. Driving me nuts. Something is running 1,000 different commercials, and it's got to be something on News Nation that's doing it because it's driving me nuts. Of course it is. It's always News Nation. Hopefully that stops it. Let's see what else we got going on here. Make sure there's nothing else being streamed right now that's slowing me down. Hopefully that helps a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. So anyways, we're covering the case of Sebastian Drake Rogers. Happy hump day! I'm sorry. I love my bullhorn button. Wake up! It's time to get your butts to work. If you haven't noticed. So one of the things I wanted to point out, and one of the reasons why I ran that earlier intro video about the UTI, that wasn't a misspelling. That is a correct spelling. The UTI of this case has reared his ugly head on the Lore Lodge. Now, the Lore Lodge provided this man a platform. He did not talk over him. He did not really challenge him. He was very soft with him. And why I always tell any creator, if you have this Yahoo on your channel, just don't try to just be you. Answer the questions and challenge, because what he does is when he knows he did a poor job and was provided an opportunity to do a poor job, he blames everybody else besides himself once again. But I just want to notate one of his things and statements he made on the Lore Lodge is that he is not trying to help the parents, right? And he would be happy to call the cops if he knows that they are guilty of it. Yet he's manufacturing information and reports that are inaccurate, and then tries to tell us that he's using AI for accuracy. It is pretty funny that Bullhorn Betty, not a SARS-trained operative or anything else like that, doesn't have these accolades of certificates out there. And little old me can go out there with a cell phone, mind you, and take an accurate depiction of what that camera looked like without having to calculate angles and on all this other stuff, right? So I go out there, I use common sense, and I get an accurate depiction of where that camera is coming from. But somehow, a man that's being paid $15,000 for a retainer and allegedly $700 an hour can't seem to cut it. But he's not trying to manipulate stuff for his clients. He's not doing that. But it's funny that now that we have the proof in the pudding and somebody put this in a 3D presentation, we know whose photo was more accurate. So my question is, if I can go out there and use common sense without a bunch of calculations and I can get the flipping angle, why did it take 3 assholes out there trying to figure out the angle? Because it only took one bitch. Excuse my language. Just saying. Just saying. You didn't need 3 assholes. You just needed 1 bee. Just saying.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
And their side. But they're not trying to manipulate information, and they're not trying to drive a narrative. That's just all in our head, right? That's just all in our head. I mean, the mob crew is just all in our head. All right, let me get through this. It's great to see you guys. We have way too many people for me to individually say good morning to you. So I'm going to go up just a little bit, say good morning to Mama Bear, our beautiful Sonia Star. It's nice to see you. Gigi for life, VA, the real me too. It's nice to have you. Sally, good morning. Faye, D Real, the real Gemini, no lie. Shelly, it's nice to see you. Our beautiful Pebbles, reminding us if you have any information or know the whereabouts of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, please contact 1-800-TBI or your local FBI. Thank you so much for that. Brown-eyed girl, feisty mama, it's nice to see you. Crazy cat lady is up in the house. We've got River. It's nice to see you. Brenda loves Jesus. Our beautiful Sonia covering her face while I fill up my cuss jar. Lady Roses. Jake, it's nice to see you. MJ. Tattoos, crime, and coffee. Nice to have you. Good morning. Good morning. Denise, good morning. Robin is up in the house. Mickey Shell, it's nice to see you. Regina, wait, what? Nice to see you. Brianna's World. Aw, thank you, Miss Robin. Thank you for the cuss jar. You know darn well I'm going to be using it for lawyers. We can wish. We'll worry about the cuss jar after the, because I cuss more behind the scenes, especially with what I've got to pay to these damn attorneys. So, Phil, it's nice to see you. Charles, good morning. Teresa, good morning. Frank, SRK, it's nice to see you. VA, I know Chaos is right behind you. Pink Butterfly, it's nice to see you. You can't see me. Good morning. Good morning. Barb, Mona, and of course, Mr. and Mrs. Car Guy, Andrea, Gypsy, the ones I don't see, but I know are watching. West Virginia Holler Girl, nice to see you. Good to see you. Hello. So we're going to be going over just a couple little things, and then we're going to be jumping into the live. So the first one is this. I don't know if you guys remember. We cover serial killers on this channel. Okay, in the state of Florida, we have an awful lot. Let me turn this off. Is this the one I'm going to be going through? Dad burn it. It is. We've got 2 of them. Let me go to this one first, because this is the one that's dragging my channel. We're going to go actually to the Kentucky sheriff, okay? Because it's dragging my my bandwidth and causing some problems because it won't quit running advertisements. So we're going to go over this. This is the sheriff that we talked about it. We were here when we learned in this small town in Kentucky, a sheriff walked into the judge's chambers and basically unloaded his firearm into the judge. It was very crazy. This is a small community. Everybody knows everybody. The judge and the sheriff were just having lunch just an hour or so before this event unfolded. We are just still scratching our heads. We saw some videos of him picking up the judge's phone and calling his daughter, and his daughter calling him back. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. Oh, that's okay. Thank you, Jenny. God bless you. We're only raising funds for the attorney. On this one, there's not really anything. I'm running 3 lives already. So I if we turn one of those into a call show, we can, but I've already got them set up. If you guys go over to my live, please get a reminder for all 3 today. We're going to have this is going to last a little before 12 because I got to get ready. My mom's taking me to lunch. And then after that, we have a 3:30 and a 9 p.m. In between here and the 3:30, I'm going to be dropping a video from a live I did on TikTok. And so that'll be dropping in between this live and the 3 o'clock live. So hopefully you guys hang out for a little while and enjoy your day here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. So the Kentucky sheriff accused of killing the judge makes a court appearance. This is the one I wanted to see, but it's been jamming up. I had to pause it, so let me refresh this. I apologize about that. It's going to keep pausing me until I get through all of these pages that have commercials just running behind the scenes. So we've got they're going to give us a 30-second. So I'll read this while we get through the 30 seconds. The former Kentucky sheriff is accused of gunning down a judge last year, stunning their tight-knit Appalachian community, appeared remotely from a jail Friday for a court hearing as defense attorneys and prosecutors discuss preliminary matters that will lead up to his murder trial. Let's get back here. There we go. Let me get the sound.
To 6 months to collect and test all the evidence that they may use at trial.
Oh, thank you, Izzy girl. God bless you. I appreciate it.
So I ask again, what am I missing? Lucky for me, Allison Weiner is here again. She is News Nation's investigative producer and has worked this story in Letcher County from the beginning. Okay, Allison, man, you've been finding out a lot, and I have been sort of going crazy trying to figure out what could a motive possibly be to see an act like that play out so starkly. Have you learned more about the motive?
I have to be honest with you. I think one of the biggest, problems, at least for us, is we don't understand. We feel like there has to be more detrimental stuff that caused this sheriff to act that way. And it may not be. It may be just a feud that just got out of control. Maybe there was infidelity in the judge's background. Not that it has anything to do with it. I'm not victim shaming whatsoever, but there were some infidelity issues in his past. The judge and his wife were not doing good. It's my understanding that they were in the process of a divorce or about to get in the process of a divorce when all of this happened, in conjunction with another deputy in that judge's chamber, violating women's rights for payment toward their probation or something to that effect. I mean, this little town is a little wild for it being such a small town. There's a lot of dirty secrets, and that's what I say, in smaller communities, it is so much easier for corruption to exist than large. I mean, corruption exists on a larger scale in larger communities, but in these smaller communities, it's so effective, is in covering up stuff because everybody knows everybody. Everybody's willing to scratch anybody's back. Things get missed, things get lost, etc., etc., etc. This case kind of took a center stage for the obvious reasons. I mean, it's a judge, it's a voted judge and a voted sheriff, and the sheriff shot the judge. I mean, it sounds like an old country song, quite frankly, right? So that's kind of where we're at. And we've touched on this case quite a bit, but we have not taken a deep dive into it because I'm not really sure why. I think it's because we've been covering the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. It's very difficult to do the level of research in these cases when you have so many. Now I could probably take on another case where all the information that we're going to have is out, and we're just going to be getting some, few little tidbits here and there as this case drags on with the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. There's a point and a level that people start breaking their silence when they feel like law enforcement isn't moving along as quickly as they think it will be. What does it say? Hasn't come up with anything, has it? I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I would suggest maybe you talking to the people that you're referring that to instead of me. I have no information on that. That's not my job. It's not my company. This is my job and this is my company. Okay. So I don't answer for other organizations. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate it. God bless you. I really appreciate all the love and support. Thanks, guys. And don't forget to take the poll. Don't forget to take the poll. This is one, and then we have one more.
I have, and I think first of all, we need to say that the daughters are not involved. Sheriff Stein's daughter had nothing to do with Sheriff Mullins. That has been told to me by multiple sources multiple times. But I think what we want to also say is that this is still, the Sheriff Stein did shoot Judge Mullins, and that is, he did kill him. So whatever we say, now let me just talk about why he might have done that. I've talked to multiple sources, and I found out a lot in the last couple of days. I found out that Sheriff Steins was getting a lot of pressure on him prior to the civil deposition that he was involved in.
Because his deputy, which is under his watch, he's the sheriff. He's top brass, right? He's the ultimate responsible person. At least any sheriff I know takes responsibility for things that happen under their watch. This was his deputy that did wrong. Yes, there was, this was going to be a lawsuit out the wazoo. And, I'm sure the sheriff was getting shade thrown at him because, again, this happened under his watch. But these are normal things that all sheriffs have to deal with because every sheriff department across this country is going to have problems, and they're going to have rotten apples as part of their crew, as part of their deputies or their police squads.
You said he was sued for Deputy Fields' behavior, his using, sex trafficking and also engaging in sex by keeping people out of jail who were already convicted. And that is the thing that we know happened criminally. And the only person held responsible was Deputy Fields. What we have found out now from multiple sources is that not only was Sheriff Steins involved in that activity, in the sexual activities that were happening in that courthouse, but also there have been allegations that Judge Mullins was involved. And
So we have what is this called? To me, this is what we call a conspiracy. Okay. They all had their hands in this. Why was this okay? And I'm sorry, but I don't see. Oh, thank you, Feisty Mama. God bless you. God bless you. How many people believe in this particular case? If all three were involved, all three were probably getting a benefit. I'm sorry. I don't see it any other way. I don't see a judge and a sheriff, voted on people, not knowing that this is going on under their nose and not going on. And how would a judge not know something's going on in his own personal office? I'm sorry. It's hard. It's hard for me to believe. Deputy Ben Fields and Judge was the two snakes. And when Mickey found out, he lost it. He lost it. So we also know that the judge was facing, a divorce. Him and his wife were not doing well. And there were allegations of infidelity in their relationship. Could this be the infidelity that was causing the divorces? We don't know. We don't know. Let's keep going.
Mullins also was involved in sex trafficking, according to several sources. So prior to this deposition, was told to me, and certainly by Sheriff Stein's lawyer, but also by two other sources, that Sheriff Stein was under a lot of pressure prior to the deposition. We talked before about how the sheriff couldn't say anything, how quiet he was during the deposition, and he was known for being outspoken, very kind of prickly, had a bad temper, and somehow he made it through that whole deposition without, shouting or losing his temper and being kind of almost zoned out. It was described to me by Ned Pillersdorf, who is representing the plaintiff in that civil rights action. So I think what we've learned now is that this scandal, this sex for favors, sex for keeping women who are drug addicts out of prison, getting them home detention or getting them rehab help goes.
And those have to be ordered by what? A judge. A judge. So is there something, is there a possibility? I mean, we don't know a lot about this case, right? We heard as much as that they're releasing to us in the news. How do we know that he was not going to be the scapegoat or, be thrown under the bus? And maybe he was, if he was made to sit down and be quiet during a deposition when he has information that could be beneficial. What if he knew that the judge and his deputy were involved in this sextortion situation? and he was being thrown under the bus, and he wanted no part of it, and they were putting him slap dead in the middle of it, and it was ruining his reputation. You know, some people do a lot for their reputation. I don't ever subscribe to any type of vigilante justice, even for a sheriff. He could have arrested the judge. He had the authority to arrest the judge. You guys understand what I'm saying? You think if something like this happened under Grady Judd's watch, he wouldn't be slapping some handcuffs on a judge? He absolutely would. He has no problem. You break the law, Grady Judd, he don't care who you are, where you go, if you're a deputy, if you're a judge, if you're a politician, if you're the president of the United States, you break laws in his community, you are going to jail. He don't care if you gave him $1 million, you voted for him, or you hate him. You break law in his community, you go to jail. This sheriff had a right to and the ability to arrest that judge if he knew that judge committed a crime. I'm just saying. Especially the likes of throwing around ST and HT. You know what I'm saying?
Higher than Sheriff Steins. And when he sat down for that deposition, there was incredible pressure on him to talk about things that he wasn't supposed to talk about people that he's not supposed to talk about. And that pressure became incredibly intense before he testified, and there was pressure on him after he testified in that deposition.
People don't understand. The pressure she's talking about, in my opinion, is political pressure. If you don't do as I say, we are going to ruin your career. If you don't do as I say, we're going to, you know what I'm saying? To me, it was not just community pressure here. This was political pressure, forcing him to shut his mouth.
Under oath. The only person that seemed to be taking any responsibility or being on the hook for this sex scandal, besides Deputy Fields, who already had been sentenced, served his 3 months in jail for one complainant, one woman who said that she was forced into sex in order to be able to stay in her home and not go to jail. We know that there are other victims. I have spoken to other alleged victims, and we will be following up on that with you, Ashley.
Let me ask you this. I got a checklist. Can you tell me, true or not true, that the sheriff is claiming that it was the judge who brought him, the sheriff, in on the sex ring, meaning favors to inmates if they come into chambers and perform sex acts?
Whoa! Was the judge ruining this sheriff's career and livelihood? Thank you, Melanie, for your love and your support. Thank you. Phil, thank you so much. We got a cuss jar payment. We're mortgaging Betty's mouth. Oh, thank you, Jenny. I appreciate. Oh my goodness, Rod, God bless you. Thank you so very, very much. Holy smokes, I appreciate it. Izzy girl, thank you so very much. Stephanie, God bless you. I appreciate it. Feisty Mama, I appreciate you as well. 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received one of your Bullhorn Betty memberships, please don't forget to tell Feisty Mama thank you. And our beautiful Rod gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership as well. For the 6 people that had their gifted Bullhorn Betty memberships, thank you. Welcome to this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Thank you all. Thank you for all your love and support. You don't understand how much it truly does mean to me. I lean on you guys a lot during this time because you guys know what I'm going through. And I truly believe we will be successful, and we're just going to keep moving forward and into the right direction. And I can do that with all the love and support that you guys provide me. You guys give me strength. You guys give me the support I need when I don't feel like there's anybody at times. So, I really do appreciate every single one of you that come here and learn something or get to have, take your mind off maybe some of your own problems while you chat in the chat with, people, your friends, your online friends. And So it really does melt my heart that we've created this little community over here for everybody. So thank you all for your love and support. Even the ones that can't donate, we understand. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you watching my videos and my lives. I really do. Thank you all so, so, so very much. All right, we got a few more moments, about 2 more minutes of this, and then we'll go over to the one last thing quickly.
Happened at the lunch that they were at the day of the execution. Is there any truth to that?
There is some truth to it. The sheriff isn't claiming it. I have 2 to 3 sources who have told me that that Judge Mullins was the architect of this sex for favor scheme and was heavily involved, and that there is another witness who said actually that he was sent women by Judge Mullins for sex. So the sex trafficking, that is what we've heard. In terms of what happened at that lunch, I've heard a lot of different versions from a lot of different people.
On the day this happened, this is what I'll tell you was being released at the time. This is what I heard, okay? And this was the day it happened, because you guys got to remember, we were live. I can't remember what was happening, and breaking news was going off about this sheriff, pew-pewing the judge. And we're like, what? So we were right there at the, on all of social media platforms, just kind of infiltrating, trying to figure out as much as we could pull from this new, case that just happened that has a judge and a sheriff, and the sheriff's going to jail for unaliving the judge. It's like, what? Right. And so the rumors that were going on, now I could not corroborate it. I'm here in Florida. I'm not in Kentucky. I don't have any connections in Kentucky just yet. I haven't really covered a case in Kentucky. I've got 2, one Bardstown, Kentucky, which is Crystal Rogers. And then of course this one here. But even though we dived into Crystal Rogers very, very deeply, we didn't go out in the field on that one or go to the locations where everything happened. But this is another one right here that I've got to say it's a little crazy, but we learned that there was a lunch across the street at a thank you, Robin. God bless you. Like a sandwich shop. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. You guys are super, super sweet. I appreciate all your love and support. Thank you. Veronica B. True Crime. We got Teresa. Thank you guys. Thank you so, so, so very much. I appreciate all of you. They were arguing. They were arguing so much that they agreed that they needed to take this to the chambers. And from my understanding of other lunch goers that made statements on social media about what they observed, apparently they were eating lunch and got into a heated conversation. That's the way it was stated. They didn't say they were screaming at each other or anything like that they said heated conversation. So I don't know if that means their voices were elevated, their body language was more angry, or something like that. Oh, Rhonda, you're in Tampa. It's cold. I know. I know. I know. And I got to go out in this. I've got my winter gear, my wool jacket. I'm going to look like an Eskimo in Florida. So now we're starting to hear what's really transpiring here. This is interesting for me. The judge is involved with the sextortion. What?
So I can't say for certain. I do know that the sheriff was anxious to speak to the judge. He had not spent the night in his home. He's had trouble with his wife and their relationship for years, apparently. He had stepped out, so forth and so on. But that night, he had been kicked out, and he came to that lunch in his civilian clothes. And then later, I also have learned that when he went to call his daughter, the sources claimed that he was calling his daughter to say goodbye because he knew what he was going to do.
Wow.
And
that's unreal.
Oh, if he called his daughter because he was going to end it, he knew what he was going to do and he was going to say goodbye. That's premeditated. That is premeditated. There's no good excuse. I'm sorry. I just disagree. No matter what, all the sextortion and everything else like that, at the end of the day, it sounded like either he was also engaging in this, the sheriff, or he had nothing to do with it and no idea that this was going on, and his wife didn't believe him. Those are the only two options. He either was a part of it or he wasn't. But it clearly, this whole situation was affecting the sheriff's personal life. He lost everything. I would think, you could have $1 million, but if your family walks out, what do you really have? You just lost everything, right? Because most people that work hard, yes, Star, most people that work hard, they work hard not for themselves. They work hard to provide a great life and things that they never had to their family, their children, their spouse. So in these very country, religious, Bible areas, Bible Belt areas, the family is everything. And this sheriff was stripped. So I'm interested. I'm interested in this case. I'm interested in finding out, was the sheriff involved? Was the sheriff not involved? And if the sheriff wasn't involved in this sextortion going on in Kentucky, holy smokes, he threw his entire life away for a whole bunch of nothing. Because I'm sorry, sextortion does not justify homicide at all. The sheriff was better off if he was going to do this. And I'm just saying, I don't agree with it. I just want to make sure you guys understand. I'm not saying the sheriff should have done this. I'm just simply saying, if he was going to do this, he probably should have just took his way out, because sheriffs in jail and in prisons don't go well. They just don't. And so I'm the sheriff should have played the tape through, but it sounds like from everything this producer has learned about the sheriff, he's a hothead. That's what I got from it. When you're worried about him having a deposition and screaming and losing his cool. I have problems with people that can't keep their stuff together or have to read and be rude at top brass level. Okay. Like I have a problem when judges do it, when judges are not sincere to their community. Yes, you got to deal with a bunch of BS. I get that, but that is your job, and you're supposed to do it respectfully and with a smile on your face. But I walk into courtrooms all over this country and listen to judges be deplorable to the citizens that they are being paid to serve respectfully. So I do have some problems, but I digress. I think this is going to be very, very interesting moving forward. I'm really, really interested in learning more about the case. Now, the other one we're going to move very quickly on. And actually, you know what? I'll save this for later this afternoon. It's about a serial killer. Many of you guys know I've been following serial killers. We did several of them. We're covering Rex Heuermann now, right? We're covering Rex Heuermann now. And we've done John Long. What was the other John name? It was in Polk County. I've done Warnes, Eileen Warnes. I went out to a place where she dumped a body and recorded that. I've got a lot of content that you guys have never seen, especially with the serial killer line, that I was meaning to start rolling out like 2 years ago when I first created the Bullhorn Betty crime stories, which is what I was trying to tell you guys earlier, is that my original Bullhorn Betty crime stories, the trolls, they brigaded it and took my channel down. Well, just recently, that channel was given back to me by YouTube, citing I didn't violate any problems. It was just, the brigading. Anyways, it took me 2 years to get that channel back. Well, now I have that channel back, but when I lost the channel, it kind of took the flame out of my creativity. And so I never did any of the true crime, the serial killer true crime. I've covered a lot of them, believe it or not, all over the country. And we've never talked about them. Like, I think the only one I ever released was the one of Pee Wee Gaskin. And Pee Wee Gaskin, that was, it's a little creepy. Do I have it on here? I think I might have Pee Wee Gaskin on here somewhere. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I might have deleted it because I needed space. Ah, no, here it is. So we will be starting to get a little more creative in rolling those new things out. All right, so we're already 46 minutes into the live. We're going to get to the meat and potatoes of our conversation. Before we do, language of letting go. Boom, 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 boom. January 22nd. Letting go of your plans. I know this is going to hit a lot home for a lot of people today because we all do it. We all do it. Letting go can feel unnatural. We work hard for a promotion, a relationship, a new car, a vacation. The universe has the gall to come along and mess up our plans. How dare it? And so rather than opening ourselves up to the experience that awaits us, we hold on to the plans that we made for ourselves. Or we hold on to the bitterness about our plans going awry. Sometimes losing our dreams and our plans for our future can hurt as much as losing a tangible thing. Sometimes accepting and releasing our broken dreams is part of accepting a loss. Letting go of your expectations. The universe will do what it will do. Sometimes your dreams will come true. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes when you let go of a broken dream, another one gently takes its place. Be aware of what it is, not what you would like it to be taking place. God, help me let go of my expectations and accept the gifts that you give me each day, knowing that there is beauty and wonder in each act of life. So, it's letting us know that, just because we make plans, it may not be God's plans, right? So we wish and hope that we get that promotion, that job, that gift for Christmas, and it doesn't come. And so we're crossing our fingers. We're upset that we didn't get it, but we got a present, and that present may eventually be more enjoyable. How many times have you guys bought your children a gift and they enjoyed playing with the box more than the gift? Right? They still got joy. That's the one thing about children. Children seem to always know how to make chicken poop into chicken soup. They always find wonder and joy in just about everything. But as we get older, we take so much for granted. We forget to dance in the rain. We forget to make mud pies. We forget what life is to enjoy. We take the joy. We ourselves remove the joy from our own lives. So maybe it's time to rejuvenate our lives with a little joy. And how do we get joy? By clipping our expectations and enjoying the ride, right? Within reason. I don't want you guys going, girls gone wild out there, okay? Just saying. No girls gone wild, okay? But, let it go. Let it go. Remember how much fun you used to have? Now you're a big old square? Get back to that fun side of you. Quit being such a square. The bills are going to get paid or they're not going to get paid, right? Worrying about whether you're not going to worry yourself into more money. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You can worry all day long. You can have your anxiety about your bills, but guess what? Anxiety and worry ain't paying them. So stop. It is what it is. Things are going to fall where they're going to fall. And guess what? You're going to move and shake and groove around all of your problems. Okay? We're still here. That's the good thing, right? We're allowed to have our problems, right? We're here. Everybody knows where we are. This boy behind me, nobody knows where he is. I'm sure he would like to have problems right now, right? His only problem is he needs to be found. And that's where we come in to help. So this is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He was 15 years old when he disappeared. He has since turned 16. We all know that he disappeared from inside his locked home where there was no signs of forced entry. That is a major clue in the investigation. Good morning, Justice for You. It's nice to see you, Smiley's World. Good morning, Love Bug. Whispering Winds, it's nice to see you. So we coming into this live this morning had an intro about the unscrupulous PI, and we have a thumbnail that says more drama. What is Bullhorn Betty talking about? So we all, most of us, maybe some of you guys haven't, watched the Lore Lodge when he was interviewing UTI, okay? I really don't like UTI, nor am I stalking him from case to case. You guys know we get involved in our cases, and then comes along this piece of you know what, causing all this chaos and frustration, trying to have pissing contests with people that ain't trying to have pissing contests with him, because for whatever reason, he needs to be told he is the best of the best of the best. He's better than the FBI. He's better than Dog the Bounty Hunter. He's better than me, even though he can't seem to figure out what angle a camera's from. I'm just saying. I don't. Listen, I believe that there's a lot of people with a lot better gifts than what Bullhorn Betty has. I have common sense, right? I have common sense and a BS detector. That's it.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
That's it. That's it. Nothing great here, right? Just common sense and a passion to learn the truth. Now, what I find very interesting is that Aiden, I've learned the guy's name's Aiden. He's the Lore Lodge. It sounds like him and his friend that run his show are both named Aiden. So we got Aiden 1 and Aiden 2, right? Both seem very bright, very nice, very down to earth, very, they know what they know, but they're very kind and ginger about it. People look at Bullhorn Betty and it's like, oh my God, right? Like I come with this, but it's because I've been beat up on these streets for so many years. You just learn to have thick skin and have no problem telling somebody to go F themselves. Okay. It was a requirement for the last 3 years. Okay. It was either that or a padded room. Okay. I'm just saying. So I feel like some of these creators that were here before all this chaos kind of ensued don't understand how nasty it is in the true crime genre. And it's because of this encroachment of the drama community, which we all realize was a terrible, terrible decision to cross those or blur those lines. So now we're all in the process of making sure that the drama are well categorized as a drama. So people in audience knows who's here for true crime and who's here for nonsense, right? I don't like getting in the drama, but had no problem getting in the drama. This is not getting into the drama. This is just pointing out the obvious. Aiden gave UTI a platform to speak. And not only that, he barely, if we could go down and ask questions, I think Aiden asked him under 10 questions this entire 2.5-hour interview. Okay. We'll go back and count them, but I believe it was like a total of 10 questions, maybe, a baker's dozen or under. Okay. And he gave the platform to UTI. UTI talked the entire time. He had an opportunity to make it about Sebastian, talk about the case, talk about whatever the hell he wanted to talk about. And he chose to make it about him and his SARS designation and certification. That's a choice he chose to make. And now he's complaining about it and actually blaming Lore Lodge about how he's physically sick because he came on there and he was provided a platform. This man did nothing but ask him questions and shut his mouth. He didn't interject. He didn't challenge him on his lies or BS. He just wanted to open up a line of communication with UTI for the benefit of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Yeah, it's his new name. Because that's exactly what he is, right? We need penicillin to get rid of him. Just Regina, TMI. I got undergarments on, a wife beater on, and my shirt on top of that. I don't beat wives, just to let you know. I'm here with Delilah. And if anybody puts a hand on my girl, they would have to worry about the wife beater at that point. Because the worst I've done to poor Delilah is clip her little paw, her little nail, and I nipped her in the UTI. I'm dead. I nipped her and got her a little quick of her nail. I felt so bad. There was a little bit of blood. I grab her. I'm holding her. I'm in tears. I'm like, oh my God, I get up. Like I'm a freaking, when it comes to my little puppy, I'm a blubbering mess. Like, don't mess with my dog. Cha. But every time she gets in, she worries about something. You know where she goes? She runs around me and gets between my legs. I got timed out for putting green hearts in Sebastian Rogers' name. I didn't understand that. I thought, are you talking about for the Lore Lodge? They did give us a, they're not, I don't think they're used to Sebastian's army because they did, I did read from one of the mods that were in there that they're going to time out anybody that just puts a bunch of emojis in there. And it's like, we're putting green hearts. I thought that was a little strict, but they're not used to, I don't think they're used to having the chaotic chats. It should never be that way. People should not be attacking people. People should be talking about the issues related to the case, either proving or disproving, but not attacking people. But they all attack people. Why? Well, go to the mockery card of the deception deck, right? If they had something of relevance, they would just say it instead of mocking people or trying to talk down to people. That's why I say it's very important for you, the audience here, not to engage in that. There's no point in arguing with somebody that's stupid, right? Or an idiot. Why? Because arguing with them only makes you look like an idiot. You're not going to convince somebody that does not want to see the truth. Period. Because the truth is out here. The truth is in black and white. People can see it or not see it. Arguing with them is not going to make their mind change. Why? Because they're too busy trying to be liked and hate bonding. Even if they knew the truth, they're going to still be in their circle condemning everybody. Why? Because they have no actual facts on their side, and their favorite content creators look like idiots. So they're going to back them up. They're going to cover their six. That's just how it works. But one of the biggest, in my opinion, find the card. Is the fragmented sentences. That's the one that I have been studying. The past tense, the grammar, I'm not really, but the other one is mockery, the mockery card. Okay. The mockery card. I want to read this because these are two that I'm going to opine on. Mockery. When faced with accusations, liars often try to discredit or intimidate their accusers, lacking factual information to defend themselves. In contrast, truthful individuals usually respond quickly with direct denials and provide concrete evidence to support their assertion. This one goes to SF because he is now mocking the Lore Lodge for asking for his receipts of his statements of accusing Seth of pedo. If you're going to make an assessment like that, if I say somebody's a pedo, why would I say that? I call Chlamydia's husband, ex-husband, whoever I call him a pedo. You know why? Because he's a registered offender. Registered. She allowed a man to abuse her children and other people. And then defends it. So we know that they mock us. Look at all of this stuff we've come out with about this case. They don't address it with fact. They don't address it with receipts. You know what they do? They try to get us fired from our jobs. They try to get us arrested. Right? Why? Because they are trying to discredit or intimidate their accusers. Because they lack the factual information to defend themselves. So that's why I say to people, you guys take it as, I can't believe they're talking to me like that. I take it as I won the argument. As soon as the insults start flying, like I said, I won the argument. As soon as you start slinging mockery and name calling, you lost the argument. Our people, you guys in here, as soon as you start engaging in that same behavior, you've already lost your argument. Because we have enough facts on our side to support our position while they do not. They have makeup reports. That's what they have. So let's listen to what the Lore Lodge, let's just listen to a little bit. We're going to listen to probably, we're at 1 hour. We're going to listen to probably the first 15 or 20 minutes of this, because this right here is the reason I don't believe of any of UTI's history on how he became a private investigator. As a matter of fact, I think he lied, and I have maintained this for a year. His credentials, his hours of service to be a credentialed PI. He's lied on an affidavit, or he has made an affidavit for a job that he once had to state he has the required hours when he does not. I believe that we're going to find that to be true over the next year to 2 years. In the next 24 months, we're probably going to find the revelation of that. Mark my words, today is January 22nd. So when that does happen, we will be showing you guys, because I truly believe this man has lied. He has no problem lying on federal legal documents stating that he is a woman when he is a man. Yes, he did that to me. I actually went after his license in Tennessee. I jammed him up for about 90 days, but they did not lose his license. So that's why I say, if you have experience with him and he has not, like even Miss Bobby should be filing a complaint against his license for what he did to her, right? The other neighbor should be filing a complaint against his license for what he did to her. That's how you get this to stop. So those people that he's wronged, you have the ability, and I'm happy to send you the link to fill out your own report and let the Department of Tennessee know what he has done to you. So let's just listen to what we found out on the Lore Lodge. Not really found out, but allowed him to talk. And I want you guys to see this. Why do I want you guys to see this? Is because I want you guys to understand the Lore Lodge did nothing at all but allow this man to talk. And the problem is we as the public body know that this man is full of shit. So let's get over here. Let's listen to let's see how much of an interruption or narrative. Let's look at the narrative. I mean, by all means, with the last post of the drama queen UTI saying that, he's physically sick, he ever gave them the time. What is he talking about? This man allowed him to talk, never challenged him on anything, never was disrespectful, never made SF look like a fool. SF did that all by himself. All by himself. Let's listen.
I got into a bit of an interaction with Steve Fisher here, who's a private investigator working on the case. It was a little bit tense, but I think we've gotten to a good.
Look at that. It's got booze. Look at that. Has booze right next to him. SF is sitting at home drinking booze before an interview. Wow.
Spot where we agree we're doing this for the right reasons. We're in the same place mentally, even if we at the moment disagree on what may have happened in this.
Oh my gosh, he disagrees? That's the worst thing that this man says, is he disagrees with him? Oh my gosh, stop the presses. Stop it. Respectfully disagrees? Holy smokes. We're all going to hell. Respectfully disagree? Oh my gosh, I've never seen such a thing.
This case. So, I think what I have been wondering this whole time is, where is the other side coming from in this? And I thought there's no better way to get to the bottom of that, no better way to understand some of the claims that have come out from you, Steve, than to sit here and have you on the show to ask you. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, I'll
Oh my gosh. So this guy disagrees with him? And you mean he doesn't take off his freaking head as soon as he walks into the chat room? He actually wants to know. Oh my goodness. He wants to know his position and how he got there. Shut the front door. Shut the front door. Wow, that says a lot about, because but you should always get things out of photos or videos when you're trying to be professional. I just happened to see it. And sure as shit, there is a glass of booze sitting next to him. I'd like an answer for that. Oh, it's just some tea. It's not bourbon. It's not bourbon. It's just some tea, some sweet tea for those Southern, or what is it, California people. I don't think California people like tea.
Give you the floor.
Giving him the floor. Let's see. Did I hit a button? Why am I not hearing him? Oh.
It was.
Okay. So it must have
all our cases together. She's based in Nashville. Because
let me go back. We jumped ahead a little bit.
This one's probably just overloading the system.
Yep.
Not a problem. I can hear. So
there it is.
Yeah. So I was on the Riley Strain case, and listen, I had no intention of getting involved.
Okay. So I was on the Riley Strain case. He fragmented the sentence right then and there and started jumping back to something else. And you're going to watch this. Now, he's just asking him how did he become a PI, right? If somebody asked me how I became doing this job, I would say Gabby Petito, right? Hold on. Let me go ahead and let this go.
In this case, either because my former PI partner, for lack of a better word, we didn't have an agency there, but we did all our cases together. She's based in Nashville. Mm-hmm. She was actually on the case. She was retained by staff, and she is an amazing investigator. And there's absolutely no reason for me to be involved. And one, I mean, she went to brought me in. She didn't need my help, and two, I it'd be weird, like it just wasn't an option. I wasn't going, I hadn't talked.
Now, does this sound like somebody that's confident in what they're saying? Hey, Jules, it's nice to see you, love. Does this sound like it's confident? Now, you're asking a person what they've done. Okay, let's go back just a little bit. I want you to hear this because I'm having a problem here. Let's go back. Let me see if we can get this back further.
To introduce yourself, I'll give you the floor.
Okay, so that's where we were. Can't hear him.
All right. So I guess one question I think that I would have, states tend to have different regulations. Love to know is, what are your credentials and how did you get into this line of work?
There it is.
So originally, I thought my career path was going to be aviation, and it oddly started through that.
That, I believe, was a true statement. He didn't stumble on his words. He didn't fragment a sentence.
I started, I got my commercial pilot's license, and I was building time. One of the jobs I got as an apprentice was with...
I was building time. No. You cannot build your PI time with aviation, first and foremost. It doesn't work that way. He wasn't building time. This is where I start saying that he's modifying his hours of service. Let's keep listening.
The state of Texas and their aircraft fleet, and one department being the Attorney General's office, and missing persons ran through there. And
I want you guys to remember that he worked for the prosecutor's office, and the missing people ran through there. And that's going to be critical because in about another 15 minutes, he's going to basically state he's never worked for a law firm or a prosecutor before in his life. So I'm going to say this statement here because he's jumping all over it, and it's fragmented, and another just a bunch of other stuff. I don't believe this statement. And I would like for people in Texas to do public record requests for the Department of Texas to find out when this man actually worked for him, if he ever did. as a subcontractor or otherwise. And it was from allegedly 24 to 25 years ago.
There would be searches that would be conducted that using the state aircraft. And so that was my first kind of introduction to it. And then from there, I went to
searching for people as a certified search and rescue person does not give you PI experience. Do you understand that? PI experience, searching for people. Private investigation is not searching for people. Okay, it can be. But this would not be hours that we're building hours toward a PI license. So if he's using these hours for a PI license, then he is fraudulently putting the wrong information on his license. Let's keep going. Now, mind you, Aiden hasn't interrupted him. Aiden's not trying to dog him or challenge him on his work record like I am. So he's just sitting there and being quiet, letting him talk.
As a fixed wing pilot to a private team in Texas that this is 20
fragmented sentence right there. He just stopped in the middle of it and tried to use some what I refer to as convincing language.
4 years ago, 25 years ago. So this is before thermal drones and whatnot. So we were mainly looking for like downed aircraft or people that were lost in really remote areas using FLIR and whatnot. And so I always...
How often did we have down planes in Texas 24, 25 years ago? I'm trying to get a gauge on how much flight time he would have searching for these down planes.
Stayed with search and rescue, and I started, search and rescue involves a degree of investigation, right?
Yeah.
It has to usually...
Yeah. Oh, so because it has a degree of investigation instead of just searching, he's stealing all of his search and rescue time as PI time. That's not how it works.
Have investigators working with you because it's usually you're a branch, extension for that search of law enforcement.
Right.
And
if you guys are wondering how I have all this information, is don't forget this man is licensed in the state of Florida. I worked for attorneys. I ran investigations for law firms. And I will tell you that I could, because of my work in those law firms, could have gotten my PI license, but chose not to because it would have required me to I can't remember. It was going to take me too much time to get that license because of the work requirement, even though I worked as an investigator for law firms. But I could work as an investigator for those law firms under an attorney. And that attorney could have signed my years of service because I only needed 2 of investigative work. But I also needed 2 investigated. I think it was 2 years with the attorney and 1 year with a private investigation firm. But there was a lot required for you. You don't just go out, take a book test in Florida and get your PI license like you can in, say, Virginia. Okay? You actually have to, maybe even in Tennessee, you actually have to work under in an agency and under a licensed private investigator for 2 years in the state of Florida before you're eligible for your own independent private eye license. 2 years. 2. And you can't use time 10 years ago. It has to be recent accrued time. Okay? So if you did your 2 years, like I've done 5 years. If I try to get my license today and go back and get my work, it doesn't work that way. You see what I'm saying? So he's licensed in Florida. I know the Florida licensing because I was going to get my PI license over 15 years ago. And that was the requirements 15 years ago. They've only strengthened and been more restrictive since then. Just a little food for thought.
From there, it just kind of it went into where I became in-house investigator for a law firm.
Oh, so now we got another law firm up here, but he doesn't work for defense attorneys or prosecutors. Yet he just talked about working in the prosecutor's office and working for in-house counsel for a law firm. And I have to think that that was stolen from me, because you never heard about this in-house counsel until I talked about how I was going to get my license, because let's face it, I have an AA in paralegal studies and I work for law firms for 10 to 12 years.
Okay. That specialized in family law. So there was custodial interference cases, which are essentially, these are dealing with wealthier cases and stuff, and kind of trickier situations. And from there, then I went ahead and decided to get my PI license, just because there is a fine line when you're working search and rescue.
No, there's not. No, there's not.
As to where you cross over into, actually work.
No, there's not. No, there's not. They're completely two separate industries.
As an investigator. So that's kind of where it evolved from.
Gotcha. So it was kind of the logical next step. You were getting more directly involved, trying to make a career out of this.
Well, I never intended, to be honest with you, I never intended the investigation.
To be honest with you, let's look at the honesty card. Let's see if he's being deceptive. I mean, we're only 7 minutes into it. He's only been talking for 3 minutes, and we've already saw fragmented sentencing, clustering. He hasn't done mockery yet, but let's look at the word honestly. Let's see. Honestly. It says here, liars often use perception qualifiers which may reflect their insincerity about being believed. The word like honestly, frankly, and truthfully in statements can suggest deception. So these are the reasons why I don't believe any of his history. Is he SAR? Yeah, I think that's about it. This whole thing, does he have a plane? I heard he has a pilot's license. I could care less. I don't believe, it didn't say from the state of Texas. He doesn't have, when you go and check him in the Texas registry for anything, you don't see it. So where did it come from? So there's one. So we've already saw fragmented sentences, clustering, and now we're hearing Q words like honestly.
It should be a full-time career. There was other careers. I've had other careers that I love, and I, to be honest with you, I miss. But this,
to be honest with you, I don't believe any of this.
It's just has become. There hasn't been any gaps. I would, I mean, I'll just a lot of people.
Fragmented sentences. I mean, let's look at this. What is it? Passive. Hold on. Assessing statistics, grifters concept. Hold on. Passive voice. Weakening modifiers. Liars frequently use passive voice to minimize their responsibility. If the subject is missing from a sentence, particularly in the case where this omission resulted in grammatical awkwardness, I would say this whole line of statements from him is grammatically awkward. It may indicate that the speaker is attempting to evade responsibility or evade the information. We got weakening modifiers, like kind of, sort of, seemed like, indicating uncertainty, whether they are used correctly by someone being honest or misleading by someone who is lying. Any statement following these phrases should be automatically accepted as true or accurate, should not be automatically accepted as true or accurate.
People know this already. I'm a fashion photographer, and I've done well in that industry, and I certainly, but I haven't taken any jobs in the last 2 or 3 years. I haven't shot for any magazines or anything.
Because you're not good. Let me tell you guys something. Do you guys know how much photographers make in modeling? 1 2-hour session could be worth thousands of dollars. Thousands. To make yourself a book, like a headshot book, to go to production companies and the entertainment specialists, like your oh gosh, why is my brain going blank? Like talent agencies and stuff like that, because you can't get in front of directors or producers without a talent agent, right? So you've got, for somebody that's a model, the photography is not free, okay? It is a lot. The portfolio, thank you, Livy Live. Portfolio are expensive, very, very, very expensive. Okay, so you're talking about making $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 every 2 hours, and he's going for a retainer of $15,000 because he's just that good. He will never acknowledge he's a failure at life, a flop at life, like he calls me, right? Which I'm not flopping around. Very laser focused. Now, this interview shows a lot of flopping around. Just saying. My humble opinion.
Because I've just been overwhelmed with this. And so I don't know if this is like a
overwhelmed with this. You interject yourself into every stinking case for notoriety, for your little 15 minutes of fame.
thing or not. It was never meant to be. It just because of some success I've had that's been publicized. I tend
the success he has. Let's talk about the success he has. He has lied about finding 23 people in 2023. Lied about it. He's most recently just got caught by our audience members and people on X for literally stating that not only did he find somebody, he went and picked up that person from the hospital, took them home, and loaned that person their phone so they could call their mother. That's what was told to the public. He did all of this. And then the family and the lady herself said, no, the hospital drove me home. He only came by and knocked on the door. I opened up the door. And he's saying, oh, I got body cam footage of showing me walking her to her door. No, you've got body cam footage of her opening her door. And trust me, if Aiden really wanted to make this guy look like a loser, Aiden had that information. You want to know why? Because I know for a damn fact I emailed his crew, the Lore Lodge at whatever their email is, with all of the information and data. Not one time did he bring that up or question him about it, even though he could have. Why am I telling you this? Is because the UTI is out there throwing shade on the Lore Lodge when the Lore Lodge was nothing but respectful to him and let him talk the entire time. UTI was in full control of this entire interview from the beginning to the end. So if he's complaining about his own interview, well, it's his own damn fault. But he doesn't like taking responsibility for himself. He likes to blame other people for his failure. And that is exactly what he's doing here with the Lore Lodge. Let's get back to it.
Tends to, be one case after another.
Gotcha. So with this case specifically, I know for me, I first saw the name Sebastian Rogers while I was covering Riley Strain. And I went, okay, well, there's not really any connective tissue here. They're 7 years apart. One is on the autism spectrum, and for the most part seems to be, a homebody. The other one is a 22-year-old at University of Missouri. Different, one's rural, one's city. It just didn't seem to have connective tissue. So
really quickly, to just give a little bit more background on that as well, we had been covering a following up series on the smiley face killers phenomenon. Yeah. And so the reason why Riley Strain landed on our desk phenomenon. Yeah. The reason why Riley Strain specifically landed on our desk that way was because he at the time that he went missing very much fit the profile that we had already done several videos on. So that was just another reason why that was the focus.
Yeah. So we were looking for specifically this one kind of thing. I'm going to be straight up. I still think foul play seems like a strong possibility in Riley Strain's case as well. But so I saw the name Sebastian Rogers and I went, well, weird, but doesn't look like it's related. And it's also ongoing. I don't want to get into this. I started covering Riley Strain only after they found him. So because I don't like to get involved in ongoing cases for exactly the reason you might guess after the last 2 weeks. It's not my thing. I'm a historian. I'm not a missing person investigator on the ground. So for me, I was like, all right, not going to touch this. And then, as you know, I was contacted by somebody who asked me to look into it, and that's how I got started. So for you, you're out in California, right?
Yeah.
So what was? Well,
I live in California.
Yeah, primarily you're out in California.
Whoa! I heard some rumors, and now let's listen.
In cases for exactly the reason you might guess after the last 2 weeks. It's not my thing. I'm a historian. I'm not a missing person investigator on the ground. So for me, I was like, all right, not going to touch this. And then, as you know, I was contacted by somebody who asked me to look into it, and that's how I got started. So for you, you're out in California, right?
Yeah.
So what was? Well,
I live in California.
Primarily.
He says he's not out in California. He kind of had to correct that. Yes, I'm out in California. I live in California. Well, right now, where he's at is California. You see this painting right here? Go look at his page. It's the very first. It is the very first post on his account because it's pinned. Oops, let me move this out of the way. You guys couldn't see what I was circling. It was the first pin. This picture right here, and that was pinned a while ago. So it's my assessment he's in Santa Monica, California, because that's where he's allegedly lives. That's his painting in his home. So I would deduct that we are looking at UTI in California inside his home. Why? Because of that picture.
Primarily, you're out in California. So what was it that brought you into this case in rural Tennessee?
Riley Strain. I was
Really?
the investigator for the family on that case.
He says he was the investigator on the case for Riley Strain. That is a big fat no. Much like he does for every case, he reaches out to a family that is going through hell, tells him he's an investigator, and he's going to work free of charge for the family. They say, okay, thank you, have a great day. Let us know if you find anything. He's not hired by the family. He speaks to the family. He doesn't give them an opportunity to hire him. And if he does, I'd like to see a signature at the bottom of a contract. You don't have to show me the contract, but show me their signatures on the contract, right? Because a PI does not have authorization to work for anyone, not even a victim, without a contract. Somebody's got to sign something that identifies what he will do for that case, what he's allowed to do, and what he's not allowed to do. Without that, he is not contracted by that family. This man is lying. I bet you this man took credit for finding this boy in the water, even though we know damn well it was somebody on a barge at a business that found this man. But I guarantee he knows everything about this case. He's got all this secret, top secret information nobody else has because he communicates with law enforcement on a regular basis, just like he did with the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Or did he? Because for 9 months, well, since back in April, he said he's been having regular contact with law enforcement. Regular contact with law enforcement all the way back in April. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, so you work with the Strain family?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They probably.
He worked with the Strain family. I can see in his eyes right there that Aiden has good contact with the Strain family. I can see his distrust in his eyes, like, oh, you work for the Strain family, huh? Watch this.
Family on that case, yeah.
Oh, so you work with the Strain family?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they brought me in.
Interesting. He's got the same look on his face that I have on my face. Because we know to the extent of what SF's involvement in that case was, even though he doesn't think we do. We definitely do. And what he's saying here is a big old fat lie.
And I was consulting with them while he was still missing, just as a search and rescue expert on potential areas to search.
Let's listen to him jump around
in rural Tennessee.
Riley Strain. I was
Really?
the investigative family on that case. Yeah.
Oh, so you work with the Strain family?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They brought me in. I was consulting with him while he was still missing, just as a search and rescue expert on potential areas.
You notice how he always has to say, "I was the search and rescue expert." You notice how he's always trying to give himself accolades that he does not possess. He has this thing about him that if he doesn't feel like top dog, he's going to ruin everybody until he's higher than they are. That is his MO. I don't get it. Not
areas
good.
to search, and we were I was working on calculating when he might surface if he was in the water based on water.
Well, let me tell you, it's about 10 days. You know how I know that? Because of Kylie Rodney. The same case he worked on. It shouldn't have been that much of a rocket science to figure it out.
Temps and his body weight and stuff, and where he might be, and it just
maybe
just so you know, I can hear you fine, but I don't know if it's on your end. The screen is going to your logo, and then when it goes back to you, it's frozen, and back to your logo. But I can hear you fine.
On the software.
On my, what I'm seeing is like you're frozen right now,
Gotcha.
but I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with.
It might
no
be
problem.
the Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Aren't we?
No problem.
We're on Ethernet, but
I have no idea.
Oh, so he's concerned about them not seeing him and seeing the screen. Did you guys catch that? He was worried that he was being covered up by a screen, so he wanted to make sure that they fixed that immediately.
Yeah.
Computer's probably just working too hard.
Yeah.
It's got 3 4K cameras rolling into it. This one's probably just overloading the system.
Yep.
Not a problem. I can hear. So I was on the Riley Strain case.
I was on Riley Strain.
And listen, I had no intention of getting involved in this case either because my former PI partner for
Well, maybe it had something to do with Bullhorn Betty was involved in it. Instead of me following you, you follow me. Because you're the one that tries to trash my name. I don't speak about this man. You know what I tell people? Hire a PI that's registered in your state that lives in your area. That's what I tell everybody across the board. And I specifically tell them to stay away from internet PIs. Not just this Yahoo, all of them. Just FYI, in case you guys were curious.
A better word, we didn't have an agency there, but we did all our cases together. She's based in Nashville. Mm-hmm. She was actually on the case. She was retained by staff, and she is
Yep. So now you know why the people were all fired, because they're all shit. Okay. Chloe's a POS. She worked with Steve. Steve's a POS. Heather's a POS that lied to everybody about the case to help her real clients, Chris and Katie. So now you guys know why that team got fired, right? Look at the likes of this man. Do we really blame Seth for getting this trash out of his life? I don't. Let's see how much more of a fool this asshole can look like.
Amazing investigator, and there's absolutely no reason for me to be involved in.
Now she calls her an amazing investigator. This is a woman that has never done any type of op before. This is a woman that literally took a book test and thinks private eye. Being a private eye means being out in the woods searching. Let me break it to you. I go out in the woods searching. I don't need a private eye's license to go out in the woods and search. You know what she was doing instead of doing her damn job? She was researching. Now, mind you, JLR, a freaking 3-time convicted felon, is out there helping this man for his own personal gain, right? Yet she has the audacity to look at anybody else's record and kick them off a volunteer team if they were a felon, but kept JLR, a con man that has done terrible things all over this country. He's okay to have on her team. But good God, somebody that's changed their life and just wants to help find a kid. If you have a crime, You're not for their team. Isn't that a way to control the team? A way to control the work? A way to control the searching? Seems like these people that were working for him were really working against him. Maybe that has something to do with why they were fired.
You know, one, I mean, she wouldn't have brought me in. She didn't need my help. And two, it'd be weird, you know, like.
Why? Because you slept with her? Just asking for a few thousand people. Like many other people she works with. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to say their personal business. But, you know, maybe she shouldn't be drunk and sloppy in public. Just saying.
You know, like it just wasn't an option. I wasn't going, you know, I hadn't talked to Chris or anything.
Right.
But what I was doing, just as a civilian, is I was putting on my Twitter some based off search and rescue, you know, theory and analysis and planning, you know, areas that I thought were search grids that were smart to search for Sebastian, you know, based on some decision point analysis and whatnot. And through that, I did get some calls from various people that were close to the investigation, including people.
Oh, who was close to the investigation that would be reaching out to this numbnuts?
To search for Sebastian, you know, based on some decision point analysis and whatnot.
Decision point analysis. Oh, okay. Well, there should be records of that decision point analysis. Wouldn't you agree? Why has that not been provided to us? Sounds like a lot of big words. This man doesn't know how to accomplish.
And through that, I did get some calls from various people that were close to the investigation, including people in law enforcement.
Oh, so law enforcement reached out to him to cover this case. Law enforcement close to this investigation reached out to him to cover this case. Let me repeat that again for those in the back. Law enforcement reached out to this Yahoo to help in the case. They reached out to him. He's so good. A department that doesn't even want the FBI in this case reached out to this Yahoo so he could be in this case instead of the professionals. Okay. I think at this point, we're going to have to use our own common sense. And I think he also lies about this and contradicts himself here just in a few moments, doesn't he? Doesn't he? He does contradict himself here, along with never working for a law firm. Let's keep listening. It's coming up. We got another 10 more minutes.
And I talked to them, and then I concluded the Riley Strain case. I did a 293-page final report on that. And
let's see the report. Let's see that report. 293 pages. Oh my gosh. Must have took him forever. I wrote a poem and people are saying AI did it. Okay, which upsets me, but I'm not going to let it worry with me because it doesn't really matter what their perception is. And then we hear this guy talking about how he uses AI to create reports. How many people are using AI to do their job? I mean, I don't even barely know how to do anything. And quite frankly, outside of playing around with ChatGPT for a letter, I don't really use it. I don't know if there's other AI software out there because, to be honest with you, I don't know of software. So if people are using AI, can you guys send me an email and what program you're using? I'd like to play around with some of the AI stuff and features. So I just want to see what its extent is. I mean, I don't have any type of paid program, so I know that Olivia's used it for a flyer or a thumbnail. I know I used it for the skunk thing, but they didn't spell it right, so I had to put it into a different system and spell out the skunks because it misspelled it. So I don't really use it because of that. In my opinion, this guy is a scam. He lies all the time. He does. Google has AI. Google has AI? I just got Grok. I just downloaded that Grok thing, but I don't understand it. I don't understand this AI stuff. So if you guys know anything about it or can give me some helpful hints or tips, can you guys send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com? Bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
So a couple months ago, or it's been more than a couple months now, but one time when I had come out on one of the trips to Nashville, because I was going back and forth, I went out to Hendersonville at like 5:30 in the morning just to see the area. I just wanted to see it, and I realized how different it was from what I had really imagined, and how kind of that, that drone searching really wasn't a possibility, in those conditions, because it's just so thick and everything out there, and it kind of changed things. And through that, I got in touch with Chris at one point, and Chris and I talked several times.
I want to know at what point he got a hold of Chris, when that came into play. Was that in March? Was it in April? Was it in May? We know he started talking around April 21st, which my belief is that's his introduction. And again, much later than when we started discussing and honing in on this case. We didn't even come to the conclusion of this Riley Strand case when we dovetailed over to the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. We were still utilizing and using Riley Strand's parents as proof of what parents are supposed to look like when they can't find their child.
He was very, rightfully so. He didn't. I don't think he knows. He didn't know who to trust and whatnot. And we talked here and there. And then, I met with him on one of my other trips out there. We met for. He had me in his house. He said, "Just come to the house and let's sit down and talk." And that's kind of how it started. He didn't hire me there. But we started talking more, and then as I came back, and I also have two other open cases in East Tennessee of two females that are Holly Bobo Act.
No, you weeded your way in there. The father's absent, and Layla Santinello that you allegedly work for, that you conned out of $3,000, and the mom wants nothing to do with your sorry ass. So,
oh, come on now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
Just saying.
Missing persons under TBI. So I'm there quite a bit, and through that, it ended up getting to the point where they decided that they wanted to bring me on board.
Gotcha. So
my question is if he charges a retainer for $15,000, but tells a family that he's doing it pro bono, but hand him over $3,000, that's not pro bono, and it's definitely not $15,000. So I think this whole guy's story is garbage. Just my girls, I hardly doubt that he was involved in March. I can go back to his Twitter. He was not involved in March at all. In the whole month of March, I don't see any statements from him in March related to the case.
When you say that you had spoken to law enforcement and just had some people reach out to you, were these Sumner County? Were these Nashville, TBI?
It was people that were involved in the search and rescue, and they just had
can't answer that, huh? Let's listen to his answer.
Were these Nashville, TBI?
It was people that were involved in the search and rescue, and they just had it was somebody that had a question about why some of my grids were going, and
you weren't involved in it. So what grid? He's talking out of both sides of his mouth here. How can you be just starting with a case? How can you just be starting with a case, but already have a grid? That makes absolutely no sense. And why would somebody be talking to him about a grid on a case he's not even working on? Therefore, how could he create a grid when he's working on Riley Strand? Doesn't make sense.
It had to do with more of a search theory based on lost person behavior. So it was not. I'll tell you, it was not.
So he wasn't involved in this case, but did what? this grid search on record for a case he wasn't covering. Just he woke up in the middle of the night and decided to prepare a grid search and put it out there, and all these people from the local search and rescue squad start asking him about, oh my gosh, why did you do the grid search this way, and why did you do the grid search that way? Oh, because I'm the expert, the SAR expert here. You guys are just nobodies. I mean, you guys work in this every day, but I am the expert. And he created a report on a case he wasn't running. Does any of this make sense? You guys don't believe me? Let's listen to what he says. Aiden's asking him, what law enforcement asked you to get involved in this case? And he's blowing smoke. Let's listen.
They just had, it was somebody that had a question about why.
Somebody? He asked him who? It was Nashville Fire Department. I was speaking to a guy that I saw on the Riley Strain case, and we were talking about my grid search proposal. It was somebody that. Okay, let's keep going.
There's people that were involved in the search and rescue, and they just had. It was somebody that had a question about why. Some of my grids were going, and it just had to do with more of a search theory based on lost person behavior. So it was not. I'll tell you, it was not one of the detectives. It was not any of the agents involved. It was just somebody involved in the search and rescue efforts, which they're an extension of law enforcement.
All right. So, well, when you say, was this one of like, there's, there'll be, trying to think of an exact example, but you've got organizations like United Cajun Navy, for example, that come in and they get involved. They might be requested by law enforcement, but they're not actually a law enforcement organization. Mm-hmm. Were the people you were talking to, were they like such and such county search and rescue?
Yeah, they were with the official search and rescue. No, United Cajun Navy, just to be clear, I have nothing to do with.
Oh, I know you don't have anything. I was just trying to go for an example of like a private organization versus a county one.
Yeah, and I don't want to, I don't want to build too much on that one because there's not much to it besides there was people like reaching out, I think, to various experts. I mean, there's other.
I don't believe any of this. I think this is a colossal lie. So he can look like he was invited into the case when he was
large search and rescue operators around the country that have commented on this case.
Who? Nobody. Every search and rescue organization I know don't want shit to do with you. So which search? Because I know it's not. What's the name of that one? Good gracious. EquiSearch. They don't want nothing to do with this Yahoo. I'm sorry, they don't.
On Twitter and stuff like that, and I think they interact with those people. When it gets to be, there was a lot of teams involved in this. I mean, and when it gets to be that big of an effort, and there's just nothing, like literally nothing to show for it. It's you start reaching out to other teams because all of our, those models that we make, we build them on lost person behavior models. Those are all made from these algorithms through that. It's a program that went through the Department of Justice, just like NCMEC is a division of that are based on all the old search and rescue, all the old missions going back as far as you can go.
What does this have to do with the question he asked? He's not asking about prior protocols or procedures of SAR. What he's doing is he's filling the dead air because he doesn't have an answer to give him as to who reached out to him and brought him in the case and who was close to this investigation. So now he's talking about stuff that wasn't asked in order to fill the air because he can't answer the question.
Put into these databases.
Now, I don't know what card that is in the deception deck, but I'm pretty sure the deception detective will tell us.
These variables, and now we have the ability to go in and key in, here we have a 15-year-old with autism. He's in this environment and this temperature. This is this mental mindset. It'll give us these unbelievably accurate models.
Okay, here we go. So let's get back to brass tacks here. So now he's saying, let's talk about what he's saying. On one hand, he's saying we have no evidence that the mom and stepfather had anything to do with the disappearance of this child. He has now out of 100 hours of footage, his words, not Bullhorn Betty's, 100 hours of footage. Who heard him say that? Put a 1 in the chat if you recall 100 hours of footage. Now he's saying that he has a program that he can plug in. 15-year-old, he can type in what kind of ailments he has, right? And this program is unbelievably accurate. Those were his words. Do you guys want to hear him again? Let's listen to him again.
And this temperature, this is this mental mindset. It'll give us these unbelievably accurate models.
Okay, so unbelievably accurate models, right? We all heard that. Yet these unbelievably accurate models do not find Sebastian. So out of 100 hours of footage, you do not have this child walking out of his house. You do not have this child walking down the road. You do not have this child anywhere on that footage, but you can see vehicles going in and out of the area at the time this child allegedly went, but no child. And moreover, you have a program that's unbelievably accurate in locating people, yet you can't locate them. Still, no red flags, Steve. None. I don't know whether to call you the stupidest person I've ever met in the world or just a narcissistic piece of shit that wants to help other pieces of shit. I don't know. I really don't. But I know he's speaking one side of his mouth and then speaking the other side of his mouth. It's called word salad. Let's get back to the word salad.
And it'll show that it'll give us 25, 50, and 75% probability lines, of probability of detection and what those are.
And still no child. But hey, according to him, there's no proof of foul play. Those two things, those two statements don't make sense to Bullhorn Betty. Those two statements alone tell me that there is foul play.
And in his case, I think it was 75% probability of detection within 3.6 miles. And
3.6 miles. Child's not in 3.6 miles in this unbelievably accurate program.
It gives you how long the, what the most likely scenario to find them in is. And that's something I tweeted the whole tactical report on that too.
Tweeted the whole tactical report. We're going to have to find that. If somebody finds that tactical report, I'd like to tear that apart. So if you find that tactical report, send it over to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Bullhornbetty@gmail.com.
Secret or anything.
Gotcha. All right. So that's all very helpful to know and understand. Yeah. I just want to, there's, like I said, there's been a lot of people claiming that you haven't even talked to law enforcement or that these people don't know who you are. And then, I see that and I'm like, all right, well, who knows what here,
So let me be clear on that. So although I have a very good working relationship with TBI.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. I know for a fact he doesn't. He thinks he does because they answer the phone. But no, he doesn't.
My other cases. And in this case, I'm not trying.
You know why he's struggling here, folks? Do you guys know why he's struggling here? Because how many, raise your hand, how many of you guys remember how often he loved to rub it in everybody's face, how much he was speaking to law enforcement and how he had meetings with law enforcement and how he was going to be sitting down with TBI and Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Remember that? All of those X posts? Remember all those X posts talking about how he has a meeting and he'll address it with Carter on Monday? Remember those? Remember all of those statements for the last several months? They were all lies, folks. They were all lies. The reason why he's struggling here is because he was asked point blank, do you have contact with them? He's never even talked about his first contact, let alone all these meetings he's had with TBI directly and Sumner County directly. And now he's struggling to try to find the words. And now all of a sudden, it's blame everybody else for, once again, him telling people lies about who he is and what he's doing. This is a violation of his license. The very first number on PI violations. Let's look that up. Private investigator violations in Tennessee. It is covered under section 62-26-221 of the Tennessee Code. The very first thing on here, no individual licensed as an investigating company or private investigator in the state shall, in order to obtain employment, knowingly make a material misrepresentation to the person's ability to perform the investigation required by the potential client. So every time he says he found a person that he didn't find, he's violating the law. He's violating the law. He has literally violated the law here, and we've got it in living color. Let's listen to him struggle on answering the police, his contact with police.
Very good working relationship with TBI in my other cases. And in this case, I'm not trying. So when I came into this case.
Fragmented sentences. Did you guys hear that? Fragmented sentences. Like I said, I can only work one card at a time. So I'm identifying the card I'm working on to make sure I understand it. Here is a fragmented sentence yet again while he's stumbling on his words, which according to the deception detective may indicate he is not being truthful.
I'm not trying. So when I came into this case, I wish I knew the exact date. It's only
fragments.
What, 3 months, 4 months. This case was law enforcement wanted nothing to do with anybody in this case. You know what I mean? It was burned to the ground. They were like, we don't want any part of what's going on online. They're shut down, and I don't try to communicate with them. I don't.
Fragmented sentences again. He didn't finish his sentence, and he moves on to another topic.
Working side by side with law enforcement in this case, no, and I'm not trying to either.
Oh, but I just thought he said it was law enforcement close to the case that reached out to him to get him involved. And I thought it was him on X providing tweets stating that he has meetings with these people. He just left a meeting with Sumner County. He just left his meeting with TBI. He just found out valuable information that nobody else knows. Wait until we have our meeting on Monday, and we'll get to the bottom of this. Remember when he was allegedly ruling the roost? Oh, this is not acceptable. Wait until we have our meeting Monday morning with Carter and whatever the officer is with TBI. You guys remember all of that? That was all in his Twitter post. Now he's never tried to reach out to them, has never talked to them. You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. Let's keep going, because over the next 4 minutes, he's also going to speak the truth about a lie he said at the very beginning of this show. And we're only 17, almost 18 minutes in. Lies, lies, lies.
Liar.
Nice try, but you're a liar. Liar, liar, liar. Nice try, but you're a liar.
I don't reach out to them. They don't reach out to me. They know, they 100% know I'm there. We gave them formal indication, and they responded back.
Oh, they know he's there because they gave him formal. So the only communication out of all those meetings he had with TBI in Sumner County didn't exist. He only provided them a paper saying, I'm the PI for who? For who? Because I know the document that I've signed for my PI says my name on it. Right? Doesn't have a child's name on it. For the benefit of Sebastian, I'm going to do searches for you. Doesn't say that at all. It says my name and my name only. Just saying. Just saying.
And they said he's welcome on the case. And
they said welcome on the case. Welcome on the case. They say welcome on the case. But they said he just sat there on the other breath and said he's never spoke to him. Okay.
So, but we have not tried to, I'm not trying to work like I do in some cases, you know, and that goes case by case. It just depends, you know, the flow of the case. But in this case, there's no reason for me to, because it's too divided. If they worked with me.
I wonder, if they worked with you. Why? I wonder why they're divided. Could it be because you got an unscrupulous PI screaming pedo to everybody and saying everybody is mentally unstable and everybody is a career criminal, even though they've only been convicted of 2 charges in their entire life? That would be me, right? And those 2 charges are hardly criminal, right? They're DUIs. Now, granted, you should not get behind a vehicle and drink or be under the influence of anything and operate that motor vehicle. Well, it took me 2 times to learn my lesson, right? But guess how old I was? I was in my 20s. Do you know how old I am now? I'm 45. Okay. So the career criminal that I once was is about a woman that probably drank way too much and did a lot of stuff she probably shouldn't have done to her body and decided to get involved in every single wrong guy imaginable in life, i.e. while I'm single and 45, right? Could I date somebody? Of course I could. Am I choosing to? No, I've got a lot of healing that I've got to do.
Right. Because it's too divided. If they worked with me, they know that Seth's people would just turn it into a whole.
Oh, if they work with him. First of all, out of every law enforcement professional, what is the one thing that they always say? You hear it from TBI agents, you hear it from law enforcement, you hear it from the FBI, and moreover, you hear it from every single article you read. Law enforcement does not work with PIs. They don't hire them. They don't use them. They don't coordinate. If they want to provide law enforcement information from their research, they're all for that. You know, and if you're providing them information, they might give you something to help aid in your search. That's it. That's to the extent law enforcement works with people. Okay. Now, there's a difference in vendors, right? So, for example, we have Jules in here. She has a canine. She is a private citizen now. But she still works with, because of the training of her dogs and stuff, she would be considered a vendor, what do they call you? Like a civilian vendor or civilian, whatever it may be. I'll let you answer that. But that's basically what it is. It's not that civilians don't work with law enforcement. I mean, you got food companies that work with law enforcement to get food to the jails, right? So those are vendors. Somebody that needs to have a specific dog that they don't have in their network, they may have to use a vendor to bring an outside source in to take care of what they have. And I believe Jules has showed us, I guess she had done some, brought her dog in there for sniffing for the jails, you know, looking for contraband and stuff like that. So they do use vendors, but not private investigators. Untrained private investigators, by the way. This man is not a trained private investigator, okay? He wants to be, but he's not. Lying on applications doesn't make you trained.
PR stunt, you know, and say, well, you're not working with us. And
I don't need, when have I ever worked with law enforcement? I don't work with law enforcement. I don't strive to work with or for them. Okay, I am very much independent. I stand on my own 2 feet. If I find information, I turn that over to law enforcement. If they want to dive into a little more of of my knowledge, which we had to deal with detectives in the Summer Wells case, we will sit down and talk to them about what we've uncovered or learned. What we've never done, and what has never happened is law enforcement working with us. We don't work with or for law enforcement. That's the beauty of the work I do. So no, he's full of shit. That's the difference.
So to avoid,
he can't explain why nobody wants to work with him but he blames everybody for the reason nobody wants to work with him, because it can't just be him.
Avoid that and not give them any drama. I don't need, we're just doing my own investigation.
Gotcha.
So I don't want to give the impression that I'm saying I'm working with law enforcement on this. I'm not.
Got it. That definitely clears some of the stuff up.
Raise your hand in chat if you believe he's given that impression so far. Up until this interview here, how many people did he give the impression that he was working directly with law enforcement? If you believe that he gave that impression, put a 1 in the chat. If you do not believe he gave that impression, put a 2 in the chat. Yep. The poll says UTI instead of UPI. Yeah, that's exactly what it was meant to say. I could have changed it. I chose not to. In my opinion, we are watching and listening to someone that's in the White House. It used to be in the White House, yeah.
A lot of this is just some of the more drama-oriented channels, like taking one thing that they think they understand and then blowing it out to this whole community who then repeats it. But so if you're not working with law enforcement, and it kind of became, it sounds like it was kind of an almost accidental thing that you ended up getting involved.
No, it's a Betty thing. It's a Betty thing. Believe that.
Obviously you have, I don't mean to say that like it was completely by chance, but that like you weren't looking to get involved in this case.
Yes, right.
But so then you did, and you said you had some conversations with Chris Proudfoot, and then that you ended up going and sitting down with him. At what point, though, did this become an official working relationship? And what I mean by that is, I guess there would be two stages to that. There's, you're actually actively communicating with him and saying, hey, I'm helping you out, versus, he's paying you or somebody is paying.
Okay. We're starting to get up to where major lie number 2 is found. So he says one thing at the beginning of this, 19 minutes ago, and now he's about to say something else. Let's listen to that, and then we're going to end the show on that, and I'm going to start getting ready for my mommy to get here.
And you, like, when did that switch happen?
Let me just pull up the retainer agreement so I can tell you exactly.
Yeah, I guess the question would be when were you?
I want you guys to pay attention. He's saying he's looking at the retainer agreement, right? So he should be looking at a document that possesses the exact date and time he was employed by this family. Can you explain to me what he says, what he's about to say, and what the evidence holds? Because I'll get to that.
Officially hired.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, so I can give you the exact answer. I'm trying to find the retainer agreement. It's.
What you bet he doesn't have a retainer agreement?
It'll take me 1 second here.
How many people are in a business that don't know where to find the retainer agreements? Usually you have a file set up for the client, I would presume. And I would presume you have a sub-file inside that file that possesses the retainer agreement. At least that's the way my files would be set up. If sitting here trying to find something would not happen on this channel unless we just don't possess the information, and we got to hunt for it, and then we hunt for it live.
Oh, Sebastian. It was.
So he's reviewing.
It's 11/14 of 24.
Oh, 11/14 of 24. But he has statements, which the Lore Lodge put on his X, showing he was saying he was being paid as far back as October or September. So was he running without a license, collecting money from somebody without a contract? Did he take somebody's money inappropriately? If he's looking at his retainer agreement, his retainer agreement is showing different dates than what his ex posts are saying since October. Thank you, Regina. So how could he make such a critical mistake when he's looking right at the document? It's funny. And this is the same Yahoo that says that one of the affidavits are marked wrong for us, that when somebody signed it, Brittany J. The way that the calculator or the date system is they put the day first, then the month, then the year. I don't know why it's like that. So it appears that it was signed on September 1st, 2025, But in reality, it was signed on January 9th, 2025. But this idiot here is passing around that it was signed months in advance. No, you got to look at the date. You got to look at how that document contract is dated from the internal system. And the internal system, you can't screw it up on your doc, right? Because it automatically assesses the date that it was signed. And when I went to sign it, mine said 7/1. And I'm like, why does it say July 1st? And it doesn't. What it was is when I clicked on January 7th, it put the day, the month, then the year. That's how you read those documents that are being filed in the court system. So no, Brittany J did not post or predate her stuff. She signed it on January 9th, which has already passed.
Okay, so it was November of last year.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's the official date.
Couple months now.
So who was paying you or is paying you?
Well, I don't want to disclose that, but I'm retained. You know, I'll tell you that Chris and Katie are the signers on the engagement letter and retainer agreement, and but it's on behalf of. Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not. My client is Sebastian, and
then why are you manufacturing bunk reports showing a view of a range view of being in completely inaccurate? When I drove out there, I knew exactly where that light source came from. And it came from that house right directly on the corner next to the Proudfoot's home. The minute I drove up, you knew that. He intentionally tried to put wool over people's eyes. He tried to play a smoke and mirrors game. As soon as you pull up to that spot, you know exactly what you're looking at in that lights video. I know many people that live in the area and have been in the area. Raise your hand if that's the case for you. The minute you pulled on Stafford Court, you knew exactly what you were looking at in that very dark lights video. I sure did. So I don't know. I just think this is, but we're going to get to major lie number 2.
They're the guardians that have the ability to sign. One thing I want to make clear is that
fragmented sentences again.
I've never, ever worked for a defense attorney or a prosecutor.
Okay, there's major lie number 2. He just basically told us at the beginning of this how he got his start was being on a plane or a helicopter for the prosecutor's office to find missing people. That's what he said as part of his qualifying hours to become a PI. Now, on the flip side of that, he says he's never worked for a defense. Oh, and he was private. He was the investigator for private counsel, right? Private counsel. You can either defend or prosecute. That's the only thing that you have. You can be, right? You're either a respondent or a petitioner. You're either on the defense or the prosecution of whatever case it is, whether it's civil or criminal, right? So you either work for attorneys or you don't. But you can't say you got qualifying hours for working for a prosecutor for missing people in the state of Texas and that you work for inside counsel for a lawyer and then 20 minutes later say you've never worked for attorneys or prosecutors. This does sound a lot like the mom and stepdad's interviews we've reviewed, just in my opinion. I'm just saying. This ain't looking good. So there we are. We're at the 21-minute mark on this video. We're going to continue to go through it. But I just wanted you guys to see the Hot Mess Express coming directly out of the gates with this Yahoo. And now he's blaming. How many times did Aiden interrupt him? Never. How many times did Aiden challenge him on the information that he was stating? At no time. All he was letting SF do was get his, have his moment to express his viewpoints and how he got involved in the case and to provide receipts for all the statements he made. He's giving him the platform, didn't do anything. And then boom, 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 Now he's blaming Aiden, saying he's sick to the stomach that he went on Aiden. Aiden gave him a better platform than anybody. He didn't challenge him on anything. He didn't call it. You know, Aiden had the information. If he really wanted to challenge him, he could. But I truly believe that Aiden wanted him back on the show to talk to him more about the case. So I just wanted to make sure that we stuck up for Aiden, that we put the truth out there. Aiden was nothing but respectful and handled his interview very respectfully, very, very respectfully, even though he completely detests everything SF is saying. He allowed him to get up there, use his platform, which had over 5,400 people in that chat, and just allowed this man to talk. Yeah, he didn't talk well. He lied. He said one thing in one breath and said another thing in another breath. Nobody did that for him. He did that all by himself. He looked like a complete, utter idiot in front of 5,400 people, and now he's blaming Aiden that allowed him just to keep talking and dig his own damn grave. This is why I say, if you get this man on your panel, just go all in. Because what he's going to do is he's going to look like a fool, and then he's going to blame you for him looking like a fool. So instead of being nice to him, just go all in. Get what you can get when you can get it. That's what I say. Yes, he was. He was very strategic in his questioning. And I could tell he already knew that he was not working for, you could see in his eyes, he knew he did not work for Riley Strain's parents. He lied about that. He lies about a lot, folks. And if nothing more, I'm not going to ask you to change your mind about this unscrupulous PI. But I just want to know how much more. I mean, if we're here for fake news, yeah, let's go to these hate channels and let's go to this unscrupulous PI. But most of us are here to find out real, legitimate information, not stuff to manipulate us and to be cunning and conniving. And that's what I feel like this whole entire team does. And they try to, if you come with fact and you come with information and you come with truth, they're going to try to destroy your reputation. Why? Because it comes back to the fact that they have nothing in their toolbox to combat fact. And so what do? They seek and destroy. Because the wit, they got none, right? So anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your overwhelming support today. We're going to be, for the next week, the next 2 weeks, we're going to be running, fundraisers for the attorney. The attorney's getting expensive. I just had to pay $5,000, and thank God for each and every one of you that helped raise the majority of that funds. But today I've got to drop another $5,000. Okay, so it's rough. It's really, 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 really rough. And this is only 2 of 4 payments. So any, help that you guys can provide, I'm absolutely overwhelmingly appreciative of it. And I just want to thank you for being here. Thank you for helping me through all of this. You will never know how much I appreciate it. But we're here to fight. We're here to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else again. And I pray to God that the judge is strengthened to do the right thing in this case when I go before him, because we all know that this had nothing to do with them being in fear. It was everything to do with trying to shut me up, to try to take away my First Amendment rights to the Constitution. If I said anything that was lies or defaming in any way, they have a right to sue me civilly. They didn't try to do that. They didn't try to do that. They tried to use the law inappropriately. Oh, thank you, Rod. God bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They tried to use the law inappropriately to take me out. And guess what? I am still standing, and I'm still standing with my head held high. And I'm going to keep fighting until we get the right result. Because I know for a fact I never committed a crime, not in their state, not in their county. I definitely did not stalk people or harass people. And there has never been, I was there for 3 days, And I was all over that state, from Memphis to Hendersonville to Gallatin to White House to Kingsport, all over that state in those 3 days. Hardly conducive for stalking somebody or harassing somebody. Those can be proven. How can they be proven? My Google history maps every step-by-step place I went. I hope that they got that. Oh, thank you, Amos. I appreciate it, Amos, Liz. Oh, thank you guys. You guys are so sweet. You guys are going to make me cry. I appreciate all the love and support, but just understand we're here to fight. And I appreciate everything that you guys do to help me keep going and to help me keep being successful and to help me help these families. Because let's face it, you guys see the type of person SF is, right? He'll go in there and he will take somebody's worst situation and exploit it for profit, literally taking money from them. We sit here and we give everything that we have to these families, no charge. We put together search efforts and go out there and search. You know, we provide flyers, banners, a whole host of things. Sonia does shirts and other things that help these families out. We do what it takes. And you know what? These families pay nothing. We don't say we're pro bono. We say leave your wallet at home. We're here to help these families, not take from these families. They've already had enough taken. And you know how we do that? Because of every single one of you. That's how we do it. Pull. Okay. All righty. I'm getting over there. Let's get the poll. Okay. What was the poll? Do you believe? Let's about to end it. We got 6. You guys got just a few more. Oh, feisty mama. Thank you. God bless you. I appreciate it, guys. So we have the poll is, and now you guys got just a few seconds because I'm reading it and I'm going to read it really slow so everybody has an opportunity to put their vote in. Do you believe UTI on the Lore Lodge? Do you believe his statements? And we have 1/3, well, less than a third. We almost have an 80-20 split. So we have 23% of the audience that says, yes, they believe him. 77% of the audience says, nope. And so I always trust the opinions of the majority, right? I trust the opinions of the majority, the opinions out there. You guys, it's more heads than just mine, you know? And if I am biased, this takes the biasness away. So people in general do not believe this PI. Those are the facts. I didn't make them up and I didn't pull them out of my butt. The majority of people do not believe or trust this PI. That says a lot. Guys, again, thank you so much for all your graciousness. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your help, your love, your support. I appreciate all of you and everything that you do. So God bless. Go make it a great hump day. Again, we will be back here at 3:30. I'm going to be dropping another video. Your video will be dropping in about 2 hours from the time we close this off. And this is a live from this morning on TikTok. And then we have 2 other lives this afternoon. We have one at 3:30 and we're doing a Bedhead Betty. So I know people don't act like I don't schedule these. I do. Okay. So we're going to have, we had this one produced. We're going to have our next one produced. And the third one, the one at 9 o'clock, we're going to be in our pajamas and we're going to be in a Bedhead Betty type of thing where we're having a very informal conversation about the case. And we're going to go through some emails from all of you and we're going to clear up some emails. I know we haven't done emails in a while where you guys are asking me questions and I publicly answer them because a lot of people that send me questions, a lot of you guys have the same questions. So we're going to go through the emails. We're going to be talking about some of your opinions that you guys have sent me, some of the statements that you guys have sent me. And Shirley, I can't take calls at 9 o'clock because I will be on my phone. It's already set up. It's not going to be run through StreamYard. And my StreamYard link My 3:30 is going to be about other cases. We need to get back. I mean, we've covered a lot of cases. Well, some of those are coming up to fruition. We have Crystal Rogers that, there's a lot of stuff heating up in that. We have Brian Koberger. There's a lot of stuff heating up in that. We need to still advocate. Summer Wells has gone dormant. We've got to find a way to rejuvenate Summer Wells' case. We have Brian Koberger that's coming up to trial. We have a lot of cases that are starting to, the stuff that we were following a couple years ago that are now through the process and now coming up on trial. So we need to, for us to follow those when the trial happens, we all need to be refreshed with all the details of the case and the twists and turns. So I'm going to start trying to designate at least one full live to getting us caught up on other cases that we've covered. And I think that this will be kind of a little more, instead of us being on just Sebastian, we have to keep talking about Sebastian Rogers, because the minute that we on social media stop dropping him from our title, he's going to start dropping in the algorithm. So we need to keep his name out there and the algorithm still kicking for him, because that's what we did to Summer Wells. We came to a stopping point. We were starting to, go over the stuff we had already gone over 5, 6, 7 times. And many of us started looking at other cases, and her algorithm went straight to the bottom. It just dropped. And now we have no pressure in the Summer Wells case, and it's going to take repetition that we had, back in 2021 to put her back in that algorithm again and start strumming that back up along with Layla Santinello, right? The Idaho 4 trial is going to come up. We don't really need to plug that back into the algorithm. And here's why, because it is one of the biggest cases we've ever had in our modern history when it comes to this, in the last 10, 15 years. So it already is going to be up there in the algorithm. I'm not too worried about it. That case really has never died down too much. Everybody's still very much interested in the Brian Koberger case. I will tell you the update for Brian Koberger is they're trying to toss the DNA. So right now they are in the fight. Prosecuting is fighting to keep those, keep that DNA and all of that in. I don't think it's going to be tossed, because either way you look at it, they were going to have the opportunity to collect that and get that. He was already on the radar as of November 29th of 2023. So, all right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Let's not forget about Cody Bigsby. Pebble says, and sending lots. Aw, thank you, Jill. I appreciate it. God bless every one of you. I really do just appreciate you guys. You really make this, make a very difficult time manageable. It doesn't take the difficultness away from the trial and tribulations that I'm going through. Athena Brownsfield, thank you, MJ. Audrey Cunningham, yep. So we've got a lot to cover, and we need to get updated on those cases too. These are cases in Audrey Cunningham. We were literally boots on the ground. And we flew in we were doing a border, we were going to do a border piece, Chronicles of Olivia and myself. And as soon as our planes hit the ground, our phones started going off with Amber alerts, and it was for this little 11-year-old girl. So we took our resources and packed up and went like 4 hours out of our way to cover the case. We already, in that 4-hour drive, we did some sleuthing. We already know who the suspect was. We already had a dossier on him. We already knew what had transpired and what we were most likely going to be. Whether we tell you guys or not, usually going into these cases, we already know the outcome. In a lot of these, like this one, we had already reached out to sources. We already had a good idea of what was really transpiring there, and that's what we did. So anyways, guys, have a great day. God bless you. I can't wait to see my mommy and my sissy. We're going to lunch. So I love you. Take care. God bless. I can't find my exit. Oh, here it is. All right, now you guys can go bless yourself. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.